Hi, everybody. Hope we're all having a good day. Sorry I'm not there again today, but I'll hopefully see you soon. All right, so for today, we're going to do a couple things. First thing I want you to do is, if you have not already done so, please submit your Section 7.3 assignment. I know I said I was going to check the guided notes. I will still check the guided notes. As soon as I get back and see you in person, I will make sure that you're getting the guided notes done. And so submit your assignment. That's the first thing. Second thing I want you to do is get out a separate sheet of paper for some warm-up. And we are also going to use that piece of paper for some practice problems a little bit later on. Okay. Third thing, we're going to go over the homework. Okay. And then fourth thing, we're going to go over the exponent rules. And then we're going to practice them a little bit. Okay. And then with the remaining time, you can work on your homework. Okay. Now, what is the homework assignment for tonight? The homework assignment for tonight is page S16, numbers 2 to 34 even, and then 36 through 42. That page is not uploaded onto the Google Drive, so I'm gonna link it directly into this assignment. So you should see. Once I go in and edit it, you should see right directly below this a link to just that page S16. So you should find it pretty easily. All right, so let's get started here. So hopefully you've submitted your homework. Let's get to this warm-up. All right, so again, what you should be doing now is pausing the video, doing these 6 problems, and then playing when you're ready. All right, so for number 2 here, remember with like bases, I multiply exponents. So, or sorry, excuse me, when I'm multiplying like bases, I add exponents. Sorry. So this is 5 to the 3 plus 3, or 5 to the 6th power. Now you can actually go on your calculator and figure what that out, figure out what that is. But that is our answer for right now. Remember, whenever we got a power to a power like this, x squared to the 5th, that's when you multiply. Okay, so this is going to be x to the 2 times 5, or 10th power. Again, same thing here. I'm going to multiply in because I've got a power raised to another power, 3 to the negative 2nd to the 2nd power. So this is going to end up being 3 to the negative 4th power. Don't forget, you cannot leave negative exponents. So I'll make that 1 over 3 to the positive 4th power. And I believe that's 81. So we'll just call it 1 over 81. Here, again, power to power. So I multiply a to the negative 12 times, multiply here, a to the 7th to the 2nd is a to the 14th. And now, kind of layers on top here, one of those rules where, since I'm multiplying with the bases, I add exponents. So a to the negative 12th times a to the 14th should be a to the 2nd power. Number 12, because this is a product inside there, I've got to distribute that power to both pieces. Very common mistake is to not take the 2 to the 5th power. You got to take the 2 to the 5th, and then also the t to the 5th. So 2 to the 5th, that would be, I believe, 32 t to the 5th. All right, here, same thing. Negative 2 to the 3rd, x to the 5th to the 3rd, right? So this would be like saying negative 2 to the 3rd here, and then raising x to the 5th, that to the 3rd as well. So negative 2 to the 3rd is a negative 8. And then x to the 5th to the 3rd is x to the 15th. That's my answer. Okay, so hopefully we did pretty good on those. If you did not, we will go over the exponent rules and then do a little bit more practice. But if you got all those right, you should be good to go. All right, so let's get out our homework and go through that. We'll go through question by question here. All right, so number 18 here. Next up, I've got like bases here. Don't forget that that's a power of 1. So it's 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 1st is 3 to the 4th. Times 2 to the 3rd. And I'm going to leave it like that for right now. You could actually go in your calculator and figure out what that is, but I'd like to see us writing it with the exponent rules. X to the 1st times x to the, 6 to the 1st times 6 to the 2nd times 6 to the 3rd times 6 to the 2nd. Remember, that's just 6 raised to all these powers added together. So 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 6 to the 8th power. Okay, a to the 5th. A to the 0, a to the negative 5th. Well, that would be like saying 5 plus 0 plus negative 5. Well, that totals up to be 0. which is just 1. Number 21, I've got x to the 7th, x to the negative 6th. Those total together to get x to the first power, and then times y to the negative 3rd. Remember that you can't leave a negative exponent, so that y has to go down into the denominator, x over y to the 3rd. And that's my answer there. Taking a look at number 22, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the U.S. The land area is 2.9 times 10 to the 10th square feet. Alaska is the largest state. It's about 5.5 times 10 to the second times as large as Rhode Island. So what I want to do here is I want to multiply these two things together. So multiply this times 5.5 times 10 to the second power. Okay, remember when I do that, it's kind of like combining like terms. 2.9 times 5.5. Let's take that. 2.9 times 5.5 is 15.95 times 10 to the, and then I've got 10 to the 10th times 10 to the second is 10 to the 12th. Now, this isn't truly in scientific notation, so I've got to move that decimal place over one more unit. So it's 1.595, and now I increase the power to the 13th. All right. Number 23, power to a power we multiply, so 2 to the 9th. Anything to the 0 power is 1 for number 24. I multiply power to a power, so this should be x to the negative second, or in other words, 1 over x to the positive second. And that's my answer. Don't leave a negative exponent, remember. Okay, multiply here, b to the 24th times b. Remember that b is just a to the first power, so all in total, b to the 25th power. Number 27, looks like, I'll put 27 down here. It looks like I've got b times a to the 3rd to the 4th, that's a to the 12th, multiplying. And then I've got b to the negative 2nd to the 3rd, so b to the negative 6th. All right, so when I add exponents with the b's, the a to the 12th stays, the b turns into a negative 5, which then moves downward. A to the 12th stays in the numerator, b to the 5th goes to the denominator. Number 28. Looks like I've got power to a power, so it would be x to the 8th. And then I multiply in here as well, x to the negative 1st times, x to the negative 1st to the negative 4th. That'd be like saying x to the positive 4th power. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. So add them together, x to the 12th power. Number 29. This is one where we distribute that power, so it'd be 3 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd. 3 to the 3rd is 27, so 27x to the 3rd. Number 30, same thing here. Distribute the power, so it'd be 5 to the 2nd, w to the 8th to the 2nd, so 25 w to the 16th. And that's my answer. Number 31, don't forget, whenever we have a product inside there, we distribute that power. So what I get for number 31 is let me put it down here. P to the 4th to the 7th times Q to the 2nd to the 7th. So basically just multiplying both of those numbers by 7. Oops, sorry, wrong letter. P to the 28th, Q to the 14th. And that's my answer for number 31. For number 32, I take 4 to the negative 4th, negative 4 to the positive 4th, and then x to the 3rd to the positive 4th, which negative 4 to the positive 4th, I believe, I got to do that one in my calculator. I've got negative 4 to the positive 4th, 256. 256, x to the power to a power, we multiply 12. Okay, now this negative is not included, so it actually ends up being a negative, and then look, this is the same thing as number 32, 4x to the 3rd raised to the 4th, but it's negative 256, x to the 12th. Okay, and our last one here for this set, number 34, I multiply in those powers, I get an x to the 9th, y to the 12th, times x to the negative 2nd, y to the negative 6th. Combine like terms here, x to the positive 7th, y to the positive 6th, and that's my answer. Okay, continuing on here. Number 35. You got to look at, okay, what's the power on A here that gets me a total of 10? 6. What's the power on A here that gets me a total of 12? Well, what times 4 is 12? 3. Look at the power on B. I'm going to be multiplying these things, right? So I've got to take whatever this is times 4 is 12 again. Okay, that's a 3 again. Let me take a look here at the answers for 44 to 52. 44 is simplified, nothing to do there. 45, I do have to manipulate that one a little bit. I've got to take 2 squared, which is 4, and then x squared, which is x to the 4th, times 3, and then I've got x to the 3rd. Oh, I forgot, it was 3 to the 3rd, x to the 9th. And 3 to the 3rd is 27. So I've got 27 times 4, which is 108. So 108, x to the 13th. 9 plus 4 is 13. Number 46, I've got x's and x's here, so those will cancel, x to the 0. And then y to the negative 3rd and y to the negative 3rd. Be careful, that's y to the negative 6th. So this ends up just being 1 over y to the positive 6. Number 47, I want to take 47. Notice that the power of 2 is only acting on the second one. So it's 5x squared times, what's it times? 25x to the 4th. And then that simplifies down into 100x to the 6th. Number 48, that negative stays on the outside, and this turns into x to the 8th. So negative x to the 8th times, now that, since I'm multiplying here, since I'm raising that all to an even power, that negative is going to go away in this case. So it's a positive x to the 8th. So that means I've got a negative x to the 16th. Number 49, they're all a in this case. Notice that the 3 just stays out front, and then I have to take 3, 0, and 3 to get a to the 6th. Number 50, I distribute in this power here. That gives me a to the 3rd, b to the 3rd, and then same thing here, a to the negative 2nd, b to the negative 2nd. Okay, so that means I just add these all together, a, b, and that's my answer. Number 51, okay, powers of 10 here. I see they're all base of 10, so I add them all up. I add up all the exponents. 2 plus negative 4 is negative 2, plus 5 is positive 3, 10 to the 3rd. Or if you wanted to, 1 with 3 zeros, 1,000. All right, and then 52 here. I distribute in this power here and here. That's going to give me x to the 4th, y to the 4th. And then I distribute power here and here, x to the negative 4th, y to the negative 2nd. All right, now those will cancel each other out. I would get an x to the 0 and then y to the positive 2nd. So it's just y to the positive 2nd. Take a look here at the word problem. The volume of a rectangular prism can be found using the formula. Volume is equal to length times width times height. Find the volume of a rectangular prism whose dimensions are 3a squared, 4a to the 5th, and 4a squared b squared. All right, so I'm just going to multiply those things. 3a squared times 4a to the 5th times 4a squared b squared. Okay, I multiply the numbers together. 4 times 4 times 3 is 48. Is that right? Yeah, 48. And then I take a, and I've got a squared, a to the 5th, and a to the 2nd. So a total of 9, a to the 9th. And then I've got b to the 2nd, no more b's to combine it with. And that's my answer. That's the volume. Number 55, last one here. Explain the error in each simplification below. All right, so what was wrong? What did we do wrong here? Well, what is the rule for multiplication? Well, you add the exponents, not multiply. Letter B here. What's incorrect here? Well, what's the rule for power to a power? That's the multiplication one, and we added. And then take a look here. This is just like just something real funky. You're actually taking 2 to the 3rd. No, you multiply those things together. This should be an x to the 6th. Okay, so there's your homework. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to get out a separate sheet of paper, not the thing that you did your warm-up on. I want you to get out a separate sheet of paper, and I want you to write out all of these exponent rules. Okay, I want you to write out all of these exponent rules. You don't necessarily have to write down the example next to them, but I just want you to have this all in one spot. Make this something that you'll keep. Make this something that you'll be able to refer back on. I want you to create yourself kind of like a study sheet. Okay. So here are all the properties that we've learned so far in section 7.1 to 7.3. We learned the zero property, where anything to the zero power is 1, right? So it doesn't matter, whatever it is, 31.8 x to the 0 power is just 1, right? So we get the property is a to the 0 is 1. Remember the property for negative exponent. The negative exponent property is just basically putting it into the denominator, 1 over a to the positive n. And remember, if it's in the denominator and it's negative, it would move to the numerator. So for example here, just the x is being raised to the negative third power. So the 2 would stay in the numerator. The x to the third would go positive and turn into would go into the denominator and turn positive. And just like I said with the denominator, if it's in the denominator, it goes to the numerator. We could write this over 1 if we'd like it to, but we don't really need to do that. So example here, the a, not happy where it is. It's in the numerator with a negative exponent. Move it down to the denominator and turn it positive. The c to the negative second moves up to the numerator, and then the d stays where it is. All right, now these are the rules from section 7.3, the most recent one. Okay, so don't forget when you've got like bases, okay, when you've got like bases and you're adding, when you're multiplying with bases, you add the exponents. So a to the m times a to the n is a to the m plus n. So for example here, I've got f to the third and f to the negative seventh, giving us a total of f to the fourth, negative fourth, and then g to the first and g to the fifth, total of g to the sixth. Reduce out the negative exponent, would be g to the sixth over f to the positive fourth. Remember, when you've got a product here, you're basically going to, when you're power to a power, this is when you multiply. So a to the m to the nth power is a to the m times nth power. And then so here's our example, m to the fourth to the sixth is m to the 24th. 6 times 4 is 24. And lastly here, when you got a product, a times b to the nth, it's a to the nth times the b to the nth, and you distribute that exponent in. Okay, so for example here, you take negative 2 to the second power, you take x to the third to the second power, which is x to the sixth, and you take y to the second power. And then you reduce out this negative 2 squared is positive 4, and there's my answer. Okay, so hopefully you've made yourself a study sheet of all of these exponent properties. That's something that you'll need to, and you'll add on to as well when you get into section 7.4. But it's something you want to keep and study from and reference back to. Okay, so for right now, I would like you to get out the same sheet of paper you used for your warm-up problems, and I want you to do these 10 problems. Now that we've gone through the warm-up, now that we've gone through the homework, now that we've gone through those exponent rules again, go ahead and do these 10 problems. Pause the video, do these 10 problems, and then play whenever you're ready to hear the answers. Okay, here we go. These should be pretty simple by now. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just go through the answers here. This t to the negative fourth is 1 over t to the positive fourth. This 3r to the negative fifth is 3 on top, r to the positive fifth in the denominator. This 3b to the fourth power should be 3 to the fourth, b to the fourth, or 81, b to the fourth. The only thing that should change here is this y to the negative second. So I've got m to the 8th, n to the 4th, over y to the 3rd. Notice that the negative exponents here would make them trade places. I've got 2y to the 5th over x to the 3rd. Product here, we multiply in, and we multiply because I'm distributing the power. A to the 4th, b to the 8th. Number 7 down here, distribute the power in again. S to the 4th to the 3rd gets us an S to the 12th. And then I've got t to the 3rd. And then same thing here. S to the 4th to the 2nd is S to the 8th. T to the 3rd to the 2nd is t to the 6th. So all in total, S to the 20th Remember, this is where we add exponents. It's because I'm multiplying with my bases. S to the 20th, t to the 9th. All right, let's take a look at this last one here. Or not, sorry, number 8. -4, the a goes away because it's raised to the 0th power. The b goes down into the denominator and becomes positive. The d goes into the numerator and becomes positive. And the c stays in the denominator. You don't move the -4 because the negative is the value, not the exponent for that one. And the last two here, distribute in, or I'm sorry, not distribute in, but just multiply. We've got x to the -8th, y to the -3rd. And since they're both negative, they're both going down into the denominator. It should be 1 over x to the 8th, y to the 3rd. And number 10 here, multiply here. This should be u to the -10th. And then v to the 12th. The u goes down into the denominator, so v to the 12th over u to the 10th. That's my answer. All right. So at this point now, hopefully we've got a really good grasp on the exponent rules and how to apply them. We've submitted our homework. We've done the warm-up and practice. We went over our homework. We did the exponent rules. We practiced. And now you have the rest of the time to work on your homework in class. Again, it's that page, those S pages linked into the assignment. All right. Hopefully we're all having a good day. I'll see you guys soon.